feel like.
Wait, it was Witcher 3, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to make sure that our YouTube works because I just shared it. And sometimes the sound doesn't work. People jump on and they're like, oh, everything sucks. I'm trying my best, people. I'm doing the best that a JD can do.
You're doing
I'm
great.
trying my best, people. I'm doing the best that a JD can do.
You did it.
I did it. I
You
did
did
a
it.
good job at being a me. I'm proud of a JD. Okay.
That's a good rhyme.
I'm going to keep talking about myself in the third person. Because that's the first step in becoming a billionaire.
JD make good money.
JD make do good. Yeah, talking all about myself. Okay, so we've got this pulled up. The intro's ready to go. Yeah, you guys feel free to skim through the doc and let me know when you're feeling groovy graves. Groovy graves, you're feeling groovy graves. It's like the slurps. Ooh, those slurps are not going to be good. Huh?
Hi, Annie.
Annie.
Yo, yo, yo.
I like that Annie hangs out in our Discord. Or did you send this to her?
I didn't send it to her.
Annie,
No,
you hang
she's
out in our
subscribed to the
Discord?
channel, so she gets notified when it goes live.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very smart. Annie, feel free to drop by here. I know Quinn, yeah, that's what we should do. We should do an English family pod.
An English family pod.
As soon as Quinn is talking, she has to be
Quinn
on
will
the
go,
podcast.
Hi. Yeah, she says words, right?
She's got words.
Yeah, she says words.
She said hi, Dad. That was fun.
Oh,
Just once. It's just
she's
once.
so chill. It'll just be like having a giggling baby.
So how do you feel about your dad playing video games?
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Dad.
Da-da. That's
Da-da.
all she'd say.
Perfect. Actually, she knows her lines already.
Excellent.
That is perfect. Okay.
Annie agrees.
Hey, Dad.
Oh shit, we need an outro song. What is everyone playing? What are we playing? Jenna, what did you play
What?
recently? Did we do the music from Kana?
I recommended Ghost's soundtrack over Kana's.
I think we already did that one though.
But Kana's is really cute. It's very bubbly.
Well, we're gonna do that then. They're trying to talk me out of it.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
There's my answer.
Okay, that's good. Sounds like the sound levels are pretty good on that.
There's another big soundtrack that's pretty bubbly. Bubblier, if you'd rather have that.
What?
I don't know. I'll look for it.
Oh, like an yeah. Okay. I was just random.
So I've got my essay written, and I've been working on it for about a week.
Well, that's
So
too
now I'm going to
long.
show you how I use
You must
Grammarly.
suck. Just stop me when you hear something good, Jenna.
Yeah, like something like that. It has like more the drums, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's cute. Okie dokie, that's the jam. Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
It's good to talk about this, but I'll talk about it when we get to it. It's
Got some
just
thoughts?
BlizzCon thoughts.
Yay. I'm so excited. I was so happy to have you on for BlizzCon stuff. I was really, really like, oh, because Trent has such opinions on
Even
this
though
stuff.
we aren't holding BlizzCon line, we'll still be making announcements and updates for our games. Well, I hope so.
Everything stops
Because
if
there's no
BlizzCon's not
BlizzCon,
on.
we're just not going to do anything.
The whole
anymore. We're all
game, the
done.
whole company is just going to take a break.
Mm.
No one thought that was going to happen, guys.
Oh, I should let Lily back in.
I'm going to scratch a hole in the door. What?
Is London in here?
No?
She said, "Okay, good." She found her. You found her?
Yep.
Yeah.
Front door was open, so
Like wide open?
not wide open. Just
Oh.
a little bit.
Hmm.
So I just had a slight panic. It's fine.
But you found her.
She was just laying there like a fat so.
Like a fatso.
Just like you.
She's...
Oh, he's Uncle Trent. Oh,
Hello.
Hey, you're there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, you know, I'm gonna beat you up. No more words, I'll beat you up.
Oh, I gotta close this.
Huh? What you got?
Oh, hello.
Oh, score.
Big smile. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I've got that song stuck in my head. See, I got a good crack, but I had this before I got my case.
I'm shocked that my phone doesn't have a crack in it. This thing's crashed so hard so many times.
You got a
And
good case, though.
Well, this case sucks, dude. It's like paper thin.
Mine's pretty.
Hi, Lily.
Feel that.
Oh, yeah. That is pretty. Oh, man.
But like the case has some
no
damage to
shock
it.
absorption there.
Yeah.
See,
It just
Jenna, that's
needs
what
the-
I think
I
is
need
the
the thing.
difference. Because this stuff, so this is Jenna's flexi filament that she
Mhm.
printed this with. And oh, man, does it. Oh, I think it just
Just so
hits
shocky.
Yeah.
super hard. And it's such a good shock absorber.
So I like printed a poop bag holder out of like PLA and it broke as soon as it dropped.
Yeah.
And so I printed it out of the flexible filament and we have dropped that
still
thing
have that
so
thing.
many times. It's still there years
gosh.
later. So
That was the trick.
it's been pretty well tested.
Yeah. Oh, I got to get the soundboard up. And actually, I'm going to test that a couple times. Check the volumizels. Crave! Yeah, see, that might be too loud.
Oh my gosh. What's it? Crave. I don't even know.
Okay.
Here we go.
Crave! Okay, let's try that again. Crave! GDS. Okay. Got that ready. Soundboard's ready. Okay. Ready as Freddy is we're ever going to get,
Ready
right? Is
as
everyone set? Let's
Freddy.
just skim through this really quick. We've got news. Kudos. Oh, Jenna, nice. You got to do Res Dogs. Good, Bad, and Ugly. Playing games way after they come out.
JD asks.
What's a game you've beaten in 1 or 2 sittings? What made it so good? And then we'll do a reroll, and maybe someone other than me will get it.
Probably not.
Probably
But
not.
We can hope.
If it's not Peterson, it's gonna be me. And if it's not me, it's Peterson. I guess that's the only rules about dice. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's give it a pause, and then we'll go. Jenna, are you good on the intro?
Yep.
Is it winter yet?
No, it's still leaf season.
Stupid leaf season.
But I don't want leaf season. I want winter.
Yes. Winter is cold and not leaf season.
But winter soon.
Yes. Winter soon.
But after leaf season. You've just logged into the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Trent.
And this is Jenna.
Fuck leaf season.
I like leaf season. I just don't like the leaves.
Not cleaning up leaves anymore. Sitting here.
I hate leaf season because leaf season this year can't decide if it's really leaf season or not because you still have some days that have been like 80 degrees.
And then some that are snow. So yeah, leaf season doesn't really quite know what it
leaf season's like
wants.
rain season.
Yeah,
Worst.
now. Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, this week, as with all weeks, the news is brought to us by Crave Cookies.
Crave!
Oh. Basically, it comes whenever I can remember to click it.
That was
and
good timing that
I'm
time.
just racing to get my finger on the button. Crave Cookies is this awesome cookie and soda shop here in Salt Lake in Midvale, Utah. But soon, Trent, soon. They're going to be everywhere. I'm going to be able to say Crave is not this little cookie shop. Crave is this sprawling cookie empire. Not unlike
I like the name. I like Cookie Empire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The Atreides family in Dune. That is
Still haven't seen it.
that's Crave now. You guys are going to take over the planet
We are.
via the cookie trade.
We got in the next 6 months, we should go from 1 to at least 12 in the next 6 that are like open. So,
Trent, did you play that clicker cookie game?
oh, I did.
We've discussed
So
this. That's why he got
that's-
into the cookie.
That's how I
But that's
learned
why
like
you
how
were-
to do it so
Yeah.
efficiently. Is I was like, oh, if you click this fast, that's
Yeah.
where I learned about cookies.
Yeah.
So,
All I keep picturing, those giant crawlers, those like sand crawlers in Dune. Picturing that, but it's a bakery.
so
dude,
play your
it's Trent's
games in
bakery.
order to have a successful business, right? Like
Yeah,
That's what I was
or a
taught.
sprawling
Yeah.
cookie empire.
Or a sprawling
Uh,
cookie
Trent,
sandcrawler.
This sand crawler just goes
Yeah.
around dropping cookies off to the good little boys
That's
and
our
girls.
delivery truck.
What is Crave's cookies this week? Because last week we went through basically an entire month of Halloween goodness.
We did.
And that pumpkin cookie, because this is the first time I've gotten it.
Oh, the pumpkin chocolate chip.
Oh, just like the basic pumpkin chocolate chip.
Yeah, dude. Had to finish with just the
Dope.
plainy.
Oh,
love that
so worth it.
So this next week we got no new ones because I was out of town and lazy last week.
Yeah.
So
How dare you?
we've got the chocolate chip as
Okay.
usual.
Right?
Got the coffee cake, which hasn't been around for like a year.
Shit. Doesn't it have whipped cream on top
It
of
has like a cream cheese
Oh, no.
filling.
Coffee cake.
Yeah. So it's coffee cake with like a cream cheese filling. It's kind of like a thumbprint cookie, but a really big one.
Oh, my God.
And then streusel on top of
it's
it.
a Bigfoot thumbprint cookie.
It's a Bigfoot cookie.
Yeah. The Bigfoot. Ah.
And then we got the s'more, the Samoa,
Okay.
Yum.
mochaccino pie,
Okay.
Yum.
and baked butterbeer.
Wow.
Dang.
That is the lineup.
So now that the mochaccino pie was the one I was thinking, the
Yeah.
coffee flavor that has, because I heard coffee and I went there.
Coffee and coffee cake.
So
this
you're
week.
using muffin top tins now to ensure a standard cookie size.
Yes.
Does that mean that we may see different shapes in the future?
Potentially.
Because
if
I just
can-
thought the Bigfoot cookie, I would buy
that
a
would be
cookie
fun
the
to get like a
shape
shaped Bigfoot cookie. It'd be nice if I can get those pans made. These muffin top pans kind of just fell into my lap because I saw another cookie.
What do they
company using
look
them.
like? How hard?
It's just like a pan,
yeah.
and then there's like a little indent that's probably like 6 millimeters deep.
Okay.
That just makes it so the cookie doesn't spread too much, so it goes up and not out beyond.
Sounds like we
the
got to learn
edges.
some metallurgy so we can make
I think
Bigfoot
so. Jenna can
cookies.
just 3D print one.
Can
Sure.
you
Right.
3D print in metal?
You can.
Yes.
We'll just need to get a very expensive 3D printer.
Yeah.
Sick.
I know you can
Yeah.
3D print in silver.
Okay, well, this segment got very expensive.
I have
very
carbon
quickly.
infused filament, but that's not the same.
I'm
as
sure
a
it's food
completely
safe.
Metal.
I'm sure you could bake a
I'm
cookie. in it.
sure. I'll just coat it in resin.
All right, let's get into some news. Metroid Dread speedrunners are beating the game faster than it took Trent to beat the first boss.
Hmm.
Guys, this is so cool.
Way to
lo-
burn Trent right off the bat.
Clearly.
throw him right under
It
the bus.
wasn't that long.
the first
I had like
joke.
40 attempts.
Well, how
But I
long?
finally beat
If
him.
each of those attempts took you like 2 minutes, I was right because they are now
You're almost
beating-
spot on.
I know. I know. They're now beating Metroid Dread in under 90 minutes. The record is around 85 at this point. To give you some context, just playing this game like a normal person, the average time to beat it is 10 hours. I'm probably around 10 hours and I'm pretty close to the end. I'm taking my time. So 90 minutes down to 85 is so crazy. One thing that's really interesting that was in this article is that as part of the standard speed run in Metroid Dread, have you seen the sequence break with Kraid? Is that his
No.
name? I think it's Kraid. One of the earliest bosses has a sequence break, which means you're doing something out of order in the game, which gives you an advantage, access to a weapon earlier.
Okay.
And you use that early access in this instance. So you're rewarded for going out of your way and finding the bomb.
So
the
this is
morph
like
ball
working as
bomb.
intended. This isn't just like a bug
No,
they're
there's
exploiting.
this has always been the way with
Okay.
Metroid is that they've got these sequence breaks. And so they hid this way that you can find the morph bomb ball a little early. And you use that as a way to beat the first boss in the game. You don't have to like really fight him. You get through the first phase and then you win. And what's so funny is as a part of the standard speedrun, they don't do this because it actually adds time to the game now.
Really?
Yeah. So that's how refined they are that they're even like skipping.
How refined they are in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
On these speed runs. So I think my prediction. Oh, and then they have what's really cool about speed runs is that they have a computer like run it perfectly, and then they determine the perfect speed that could be achieved, and then people try to achieve
How
that.
do you even get a computer to run it?
Well,
like-
basically, you could just drag your character. I don't know. That is a good question. I don't know because they do have like when you look at these speedruns, it says like perfect time or whatever, and that's standard. But on the Metroid Dread speedruns, they have the same thing. With Mario, it's like they know pixel perfect exactly how well someone can do, and then they're basically chasing that computer standard.
Such a weird
It's the
like
coolest
area
thing.
of gaming. It's so cool.
It's so fascinating, and the fact that they're working on it so quickly because this is, I mean, Metroid is a game that was subjected to speedrunning pretty early on. So to have a new one come out and to have it in the community, it seems like people are like it. It's like well received.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of I'm
That's
just
super
impressed,
cool.
and I'm
That's
cheering them on.
impressive
Yeah, it's dope.
because it was for sure an hour and a half that it took me.
I just wish that we could have a side by side of that stream
Of me
Put
dying.
up Trent
5
dying.
deaths in face. Oh, okay. I get to the part where like he's invisible and you just have his tail
Yeah.
ball, and then I beat it, and I'm like, okay, I'm in the final phase. And then he goes back into it.
And at
That
that
was a
point,
nightmare.
you're watching on the other screen, and the other player has gotten halfway through the game, and I just think that would be so funny to watch. Blizzard has canceled BlizzCon and BlizzCon Line in order to quote reimagine the event. This made Trent supremely sad. He walked in my house with a big frown. He was
I did,
big
and I
sad.
already had a talk with Annie about this morning. I really did.
It's like they closed Disneyland.
It is.
That's
but
what
it's
it
like they
feels
closed Disneyland and it's never going to open back up.
Yeah, they closed it forever.
Here's my question, because you've been to BlizzCon. What reimagining does the event need? Like
That was
outside
my
of the
question for
company's
you.
issues, there's nothing wrong with the event. It's hyping their games on a stage, letting everyone play it.
Yeah.
Like
I think one of these things, because I had that same thought, like what is need to be, because they did mention in the release where they announced this, they said, quote, whatever the event looks like in the future, we also need to ensure that it feels as safe, welcoming, and inclusive as possible. And that made me think, it gave me flashbacks to that gal that was at that BlizzCon back in like what 2010 or whatever, who was asking at that panel.
oh, and she kind of got laughed off.
Which
Though
was
you
that
sent me
was
the video
BlizzCon,
of it
yes, and that was
recently, yeah.
BlizzCon 10 years ago,
Okay.
right? But I think that was my only thought.
So that's not like reimagining of the event. That's just like reimagining
Firing
how
the
we treat people.
Yes,
Okay.
which is exactly. So it's like the event doesn't, unless you're laughing at women during panels, which I don't think they've been doing for a couple of years. What needs to be reimagined? I mean, I imagine maybe they're bummed about getting booed all the fucking time and
Yeah.
disappointing their fans all the fucking time.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, I hate this whole
The
thing.
tone of this is just off to me, and it just makes me feel like they're being lazy.
Yeah, like they're just
Well,
taking the year off.
For how big of an announcement it is. It's 3 paragraphs. Like they just. I mean, they haven't done it. They didn't do it last year, obviously, because COVID, and they didn't do it the year before.
But this has been going on for 16 years. This is like a
Right.
pretty long standing. And the fact they're not even doing BlizzCon line,
That's what threw me
that's
off.
what's
Because what's the
lazy.
point? Because my favorite, I mentioned this before, is when they make sure to reassure us that we're still going to release updates for our games, though. Don't let this concern you there. Isn't that what BlizzCon line is, though? Is just giving us updates on your games virtually? I don't understand the reason to cancel that, because I can't imagine the undertaking of putting something like BlizzCon line, sorry, is anywhere close to doing an in-person BlizzCon.
Maybe it is, though. Maybe we're wrong, and maybe it wasn't necessarily, Trent, that they had the same it wasn't the same workload as doing the actual physical event, but maybe the pressures were the same. Because they always talked about like our whole year revolves around BlizzCon. And
Fair.
so if they're like, all of these things need to be done, all this crunch needs to be conducted before BlizzCon, because you need to get the Diablo cinematic out. You need to get the Warcraft
Because
panel.
that's what I'm
together.
interpreting this as. Is this is just their like roundabout way of saying
We don't
have
time.
anything to show you.
Well, they don't have anything to show, but I think don't they have the bodies to put on a BlizzCon when your whole company is just being ravaged?
Yep, exactly. Because get this line. At this time, we feel the energy it would take to put on a show like this is best directed towards supporting our teams and progressing development of our games and experiences.
Yeah.
So, we have our own problems
We
gotta
actually
focus
can't
on,
do this fucking
and
shit.
we can't think about you guys. Sorry.
Thanks.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, the best reading of this, the most generous reading of this is good. At least if they're working on their own issues, because
I'd say good if I felt like it was ever going to come back,
It's
but they
never gonna
just
come
are
back.
spiraling.
This is the precursor to no BlizzCon next year, and then just quietly letting it die.
Because
Because
we're gonna get little BlizzCon directs going forward.
I
Like
just
Nintendo.
The whole purpose of BlizzCon revolved around huge fans of a singular game studio or one game that studio makes. Fans that were so ardent about that game or that studio, they would fly to California,
Spend thousands of dollars.
so much on a room, spend so much on this thing, and then the coup de grace. Stand in lines like it's fucking Soviet Russia, dude. Stand in lines for hours at a time
really
with
good
a
at standing
big
in lines.
grin on your face. You're sweating, standing in a big old suit, costume, whatever, and you are having the best day of your life. Those are the types of fans that I think Blizzard has lost, and they fucking know it. And they're like, these are people that if we did put on this event and we're like, come, those people would not show up, and it would look bad. It's like a Trump rally in late 2020. It's just no one's going to show up.
They've also lost people who had heart initially in the company as well.
The internal people.
Uh-huh.
Who, Trent, and you could speak more to this. These people were kind of godlike figures in the community,
even
weren't they?
Oh my gosh, what is his name? He does the voice for Thrall.
The
big,
guy
burly
from
dude.
the guy from the band?
No, just look up really quick who does the voice for Thrall.
Okay.
You're gonna know the name the second you see it.
Chris Metzen.
Chris Metzen.
That's actually what I was thinking in my head. I was like, Metzen, but okay.
BlizzCon wasn't ever the same once he wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
He was the hype man. BlizzCon would start and he would run out on stage and start yelling for the horde, all that stuff, right? That died after he left. And so as you have each of these huge figures like Jenna was mentioning stepping away, maybe this is why the event needs to be reimagined, because everyone that sparked any life into it is gone.
That's a really good point, Trent, because the event was initially imagined by the founding fathers of Blizzard, who were the reason that they had such crazy fans and such good games. And now they're all gone. All of that is gone. I mean, you're right. It has to be a far smaller event. Their games seem to have shrunk in scope and reach. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're trying to expand WoW's audience as much as just desperately, which makes sense, desperately hold on to what they have.
Which they can't even do.
And the thing is that's sad is that Amazon's New World's proven that the appetite for an MMO is not dead in 2021. So the fact that they're losing mind share is just a bummer. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what BlizzCon looks like, but this is not a good sign. Nintendo's newest gaming service, Switch Online, is off to a rocky start.
Nintendo's always been really good at the online stuff, though, right?
Yeah, that's like they've always had good online services. They rolled them out really early on in their system's life cycles, so people could become early adopters and really no. So this is Nintendo Switch Online, which is it's like a $50 a year service that allows you grants you access to like N64 and old Sega titles. There's not a ton, but like enough that you're like $50 for a year. Sure, $6 a month. I don't care. Whatever.
I mean, you're basically paying like $5 a title.
Yeah,
is what it comes out to right now because there's not a lot.
Yeah, so that's like one thing, and people are like, "Cool, that sounds good." But the problem here is that players are running into like a ton of issues with the service, including lag, frame rate issues, sound delays, and just other generalized problems. Have you seen any of this? I posted that.
Yeah, I'm
that
trying to
Twitter link.
Get it open.
It's absolute. It is such a garbage mess. There is people have just been posting screenshots and videos of them trying to play the games on the service, and it's like they just lag and just stop. It's like, and it's really jarring because it's an N64 game,
it's like
right?
You're just trying to play a PC game without a video card is what it looks like.
Exactly. So it's like it's injecting bugs and things into these old games. And I think what people were really offended by all of this is that 20 years ago plus, people perfected the emulation for all of these systems. And my Nintendo's like huge hatred for anything that they couldn't dig their grubby mitts into and extract wealth from made it so they didn't benefit from any of this. They didn't tap into any of the emulation market, which, by the way, went through a number of generational changes, like huge things as they discovered reverse engineering the N64's hardware, reverse engineering the Genesis, for example. And they have learned all these things, and it took them a long time in a big open community. And Nintendo comes along and is like, "Oh, we'll just do it our way, and we'll do it shit."
And they've refined it for much newer systems than like what I'm watching here is Mario Kart 64.
64.
You can emulate the Wii U now.
Yep.
Like flawlessly.
You could have done it. Remember, because you were using that old, it was like that old Lego game to crack it.
Right. Well, no, that was just getting ROMs or that was just getting free games for the Wii. But I'm saying like on because all the Wii games were developed in HD, but the console couldn't actually do it.
Yeah.
So like Skyward Sword, for example, I played that. I didn't play that on the Wii. I played that on my PC because I just emulated the game and cranked up the resolution, and it ran flawlessly. And so the fact that they can do that with such like new games
for
and
free.
Nintendo
By the way,
for free.
What you're explaining is people have done this for free and under the like legal threat from Nintendo, who is very litigious about these things.
Who I'm sure if Nintendo offered would actually be willing to help.
Absolutely.
Do this?
Absolutely. So the idea that this has been done for free and you could just go get these downloaded or whatever, but you're paying $50 for a service that makes them worse than they were 25 years ago.
Just so you can play them on your Switch.
And it's subscription, right? So like
you don't even own these fucking games. You just are renting them you're like renting a scratch disc at Blockbuster. That's what you're getting here. Scratch DVD from Redbox.
That you're going to want to return ASAP.
Because it sucks. But you're on the hook for a year. Yikes. Good luck, Nintendo. Fix your shit. Haunted Chocolatier is the latest game from Stardew Valley developer Concerned Ape. 3 wins right there. Concerned Ape is the developer of Stardew Valley, that hit little indie title, and he's working on his latest game, Haunted Chocolatier, which apparently is just like it wasn't some big plan thing. He's like, I just kind of like looking for a theme. I'm like, oh yeah, chocolate. And everyone likes chocolate, and it's like, it's haunted. So yeah, it's spooky. Haunted Chocolatier.
Got to be a bad guy somewhere.
Bang, boom, done. So
word cloud complete.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he just got those little magnet words and he just threw them in this fridge, and this is what stuck. Haunted Chocolatier. This game looks sick. If you guys don't know, Stardew Valley was a cute little game. It was an RPG where you did it was like a farm management
simulator, like
it was a farming sim, but it was also
With romance.
with romance. There was a relationships element of it. You could meet people in the town. Nice.
My
Sell
phone
it, and you could like find your oh my god, that is so broken. You can meet people in this town of Stardew Valley. You could sell your crops to them. You could buy things from them. You could develop relationships with them, and then have kids with them. Even there was also a place in the town. There was like a cave where you went to do where the combat took place in the game, and you just go down deeper and deeper layers into the cave, earning different items that then you could then bring back and incorporate in your farm. So it had farming, it had relationships, it had combat. It was just fun. It had something for everyone. It was top down, so it was kind of like a vintage feel, kind of like these old Super Nintendo titles. Very Super Nintendo-y.
Very
actually.
Super Nintendo,
Very
yeah.
Super Nintendo-y. So he's been working on this game for 10 years. It's been on everything. It's been ported to every system. It's got co-op. He's added a billion things. He's added a billion different things you can grow, crops, people, all this stuff. And now he's ready to move on. And this is what he's moving on. He's been working on it for a year. We don't know a ton about it. It looks like he said it's got more focus on combat, which I'm stoked, because if I'm being honest, like that was what I loved about Stardew. Like it was all really fun, but that part of it and being able to like incorporate and bring those things back to my farm and the simulation aspect of it, I wish there had been more. And so it sounds like he's added more combat. He's added shields. It just sounds, and he's, like I said, been working on this for a year. So it just sounds like he's just committed to making another baller standout game.
Doesn't seem like he's in any rush.
No rush.
Yeah.
He's got $1 billion, I'm sure, from Stardew Valley. Oh my god. And that's exactly who we want making art in general, but definitely video games, is people who are just chill, don't feel the pressure of any studios or capitalist leanings, where he can just kind of chill and make whatever game he wants to make. And I'm thinking, I liked Stardew Valley. I liked the farming aspect of it. I liked raising chickens and geese and all this crap. But would I rather make chocolate?
Yeah.
I'd rather fucking make chocolate. I'd rather go out
and fight ghosts
and make chocolate. So Haunted Chocolatier, no release date, no nothing. Just keep an eye out for it. We'll keep you posted. Despite multiple lawsuits and public scandals, literally nothing has changed at Ubisoft. You guys were all waiting right on that last word. You're like, oh, what studio is he going to say? Is it going to be Activision?
One of two.
Is it going to be Ubisoft?
Is it Blizzard?
Is it Blizzard? We don't know. Yes, it is Ubisoft. You guys, we did touch on this, and I feel like it's deja vu.
And this was before the Blizzard scandal happened that we last dove into this.
Yes,
lot, right?
and honest to God, dude, it feels like this is Ubisoft's PR strategy. Is like just ignoring it, and it is legitimately, it's working, Trent. It's fucking working. We follow this on this podcast week to week. We keep an eye out for this. Every time the story pops up, we talk about it,
because if you keep ignoring it, then there's nothing.
But
there's no news.
But genuinely, that's exactly what's happening. The
There's
only
no news,
news
so
is
none of
that
us-
there is no news and they're not doing anything. And if these articles don't keep popping up, people are going to forget. They're releasing, and I think
So what you're saying is it was actually a bad thing for Blizzard to say that they were making changes. You should have just ignored it.
Ignore it. Just ignore it. They've done a bunch of shit in terms of like overhauling HR processes and adding just a bunch of bureaucracy to reporting incidents at work. They've done nothing. This article in particular, I believe this is from Kotaku, and they talked about one developer, Valerie, which is a pseudonym, by the way, and she faced rampant sexism, racism, discrimination, harassment, just the standard cocktail of Ubisoft employment. And so she made one last final attempt, after doing all of the good faith things you're supposed to do, including using their new reporting structures. She sends a resignation email directly to the CEO, Guillermo, and 3 others at the company. And
Nothing.
she's just like, didn't get anything back. And Guillermo didn't respond, but the newly appointed head of workplace culture did, writing that she would reopen Valerie's file and escalate it to the recently appointed VP of Global Diversity and Inclusion. So, right, like, wow, we got a couple VPs on this. Several interviews followed. Oh, so they're actually talking to her, listening to her, including one with both of these VPs, but ultimately nothing came of them.
So if you're the VP of
Why go through all
diversity
that
and
work if you're not going
inclusion
to do anything?
in a company like Ubisoft, what do you do? If there's no changes actually taking place, like what is that job?
They're the janitors with like the dustbin. They're just like sweep under the rug, you guys. Go
Yeah.
under
You guys see-
here.
There's no dustbin, just the broom.
Did you get
and-
far
Yeah,
enough in
just the
Silicon
broom and the
Valley where
rug. My bad.
Big Head gets like relegated to the roof?
Yes.
Like that's his job. He
Yes.
gets paid like a beast salary and he just goes
He
and
just
sits on
sits
the
there on
roof
the
and
roof.
drinks Coke.
That's what they do.
That's what this job is.
I think the idea
Yeah,
that they
or-
thought here is that being vice presidents and just having the meeting would be enough to appease Valerie and be like, oh, she'll be happy because she spoke to some.
we can still treat her like shit as long
we'll
as we
just
listen
not
to her.
do it. Yeah, we're listening. No, you're not. You're not really doing a lot. This is another quote from another developer in the same article. Same thing happens every few years. This is just a cycle for Ubisoft, and they're going to ignore it. And I just feels like they're going to ignore it till we release a few more games. That's the stage that they're at here. Is like because they got Far Cry 6 out, they got a couple more on the horizon. They going to put another Assassin's Creed out. Apparently, Valhalla was the most profitable Assassin's Creed game they've ever had, so they're going to double down on that more in a known series, and no one's going to give a fuck. No one's paying attention. This is the people. The more generalized gaming public that buys Far Cry
All
and
of the
Assassins.
gaming public, short of people that listen to podcasts like
Yes.
this.
Yeah,
Like
no one knows about
the
this
average
stuff.
gamer doesn't sit down and read industry news.
No, and the
right?
thing is, like you said, Blizzard has brought attention to this by acknowledging the scandal. Ubisoft doesn't seem to care. I think part of Ubisoft's thinking is that they're insulated from whatever we've got going on here because they have their offices in Paris, which is this little fiefdom for all the scummy brothers that run the company, and then Canada in Montreal. And I think they think they're insulated from whatever Me Too stuff's going on in California, which is why Blizzard Activision might be more responsive to it. But I think
because they got sued by the state of California.
Yes.
Right? Like it ended up
so
way in the
yeah,
public eye.
Ubisoft's like, oh, we're a French company and no one will be bothering us. A little bottom pinch here and there. Wee. Jenna loves my French accent. A little bottom
she
pinch.
sits there and shakes her head.
She's like, this fucking guy. Anyway, so I think that's I just think it's weird. I think it's weird that they're just like, it's not weird. It makes sense. I think it's weird that it's working. And
I don't
keeps
like
working.
it.
It's gonna work,
working,
dude.
but I don't
They're gonna
like it.
release another Assassin's Creed game, and it's gonna
And it's
sell.
gonna outsell Valhalla.
But the one thing I do think, and we did report on this a little bit, that they have been losing developers. That is the only thing that will get them to change is the employees, not the gamers, because the gamers don't care. They're still producing games. Hell, we talked about it on this podcast. Ubisoft has been doing a great job from a
But
game
then again, there's enough
perspective.
employees that are dying to get into the gaming industry.
Yeah,
that
that's what they're
not
that's what
going to
they're
have a
relying
problem
on.
anyway.
But they keep talking about the burgeoning Canadian game development industry, which would definitely snatch away developers. So we will see on all of this. But God, I hope Ubisoft gets their
I
shit
want
together.
accountability.
Yeah, we all would like to see a little bit of accountability.
Somewhere.
Sony has formed a PlayStation PC label for its PC
Throwing in the
game
towel.
push. Dude.
Sony's ready to stop being so stubborn.
Well, I didn't realize this. We didn't cover this. I didn't see this back in February in an interview with GQ. The CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, was talking about Sony and the future of PlayStation and stuff. And he said, we find ourselves now in early 2021 with our development studios and the games that we make in better shape than they've ever been before. Particularly from the latter half of the PS4 cycle, our studios made some wonderful, great games. Hard agree. The last half of the PS4 cycle, some of the best console exclusive titles ever, all the way back to
Those
like
Horizon
Nintendo
Zero
and stuff.
Dawn, right?
Yes,
Is that in there?
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those were the good games they were releasing, like God of War, for example. And he went on to say, the quote, there's an opportunity to expose these great games to a wider audience and recognize the economics of game development, which are not always straightforward. The cost of making games goes up with each cycle as the caliber of the IP has improved. So he's saying that we're making some amazing fucking games, and it is so stupid we're only selling them on PS4.
And we're making so much money
Yes.
that we can do it now. So does this mean that the life of like PlayStation exclusives are done. Is this really what this
I would
means?
say they're done, but
they're
I
going to be
think
on PC.
they're going to be moving them to the PC more often because it seems stupid. PlayStation is not competing with Microsoft in a lot of different spaces, but they're definitely not competing in the game sales space, even though they're, like he's saying, pumping out great games over and over again. So I just think they're trying to get, and that's, I mean, you look at, it's so crazy to me that we're listening to Jim Ryan, the CEO of this company, who's been there for a while, basically saying what dumb internet dweebs and teenagers have been saying on Reddit forums for 5+ years.
Right.
You are throwing money away by not selling these games to people who would buy them and play them and love them to death. Why are you ignoring the PC marketplace? Why do you think it's, and I do know part of it is because Sony is a Japanese company and PC gaming in Japan is very minor. It is not a thing. And so I think when you look at your home market and your headquarters, you're like, well, if we're not doing it here, why are we doing it everywhere else? But I just think that's so crazy that it took them so long. And then you look at the sacrifices that companies, especially entertainment companies, are making in order to be able to expand into China, for example. And it's like, okay, well, you're willing to like do whatever it takes to get into the Chinese market. And there is a PC market that has no government regulations. You don't have to content manage anything that you're putting out there. You could just sell your game on a PC. You're talking about going into a different market. Why would you not sell on PC? So the news here is that according to basically people found out that Sony Interactive Entertainment has registered the PlayStation PC name. They registered it in April of this year.
Well, and what a good time to do it when they're pumping out exclusives for a console that no one can get.
Yeah.
So now
you can actually
maybe
get
you'll
them
actually get
somewhere
to play
else.
some of those games.
And that might be part of it. Honestly, is the struggles to get PlayStation 5s in people's hands. Sony doesn't like this. I mean, they're selling these things like gangbusters. It's the hottest selling console they've ever had. And they can't get them in people's hands. And I bet they're not, it's not like they're pleased about that.
Yeah.
And so they can't sell all these dope games that Jim Ryan's talking about to the people on their own console because they can't get it out. So yeah, let's get it into a PC.
I'm in.
I also
like
wonder
it.
how many PS4 players are waiting to buy certain games until they can play them on the PS5 because
1,000%. Well, and you've seen, because what was that last game we had the issue with when they were talking about upscaling it? Because they were talking, they've been it was FIFA, I think, but they kept telling everyone like, well, don't worry, buy your games on PS4 because you'll be able to play them on the PS5 later.
Yeah.
And then all that keeps coming out is that they're like not doing that.
Yeah.
And they're screwing people over. So no, I would like Jenna's absolutely right. I think everyone's just sitting and waiting on the whole kit and caboodle. And those are people that are not spending money that would otherwise love to spend money.
Yeah.
These are people that have it in hand. I want to give you my money. I'm not going to give it to a scalper though.
I was just going to make a noise with my mouth.
Zuckerberg activates his listening chip, resulting in Oculus Quest phasing out Facebook account requirement for login.
Well, and this is after an announcement that Facebook is not going to be Facebook anymore.
Yeah. So
we got the Meta company now.
I'm like, does Zuckerberg think we're not going to put these two fucking things together?
Well, and he announced that going forward, the plans, not just for the Oculus, but for most platforms going forward, they don't think they're going to have the Facebook account requirement anymore.
Yeah. It's like, I just don't get it. Every time he splits his little lizard lips and his forked tongue slithers out between his teeth, people listen to what he fucking says because he's Mark Zuckerberg. So he, like you said, makes two announcements back to back like this and doesn't think people are going to tie them together. Oh, maybe that was from some other mark at Facebook. It's so weird. He says, quote, as we've focused more on work and frankly, as we've heard your feedback more broadly, we're working on making it so you can log into Quest with an account other than your personal Facebook account. Again,
he doesn't say no account.
No.
Or not like a Quest account.
Why do I need a fucking login? Just let me use the thing I bought.
Do you have to log in? I guess you do.
Let's
Do you have
scan
to-
your eyeballs.
Yeah, do you
I
have to log
into
in?
my Switch every
Do I
time?
have to
it turns
log into my
on.
Guitar Hero controller? Like, fuck off, Mark Zuckerberg. I log into like anyway.
Now you can
So
use your Meta account to log in.
so now you can use basically what is it, a Facebook account with a different name, and it will still be tied to your personal Facebook account, I'm sure. What? This
I
is
don't
so
know,
weird
dude.
to me. I think Zuckerberg thinks everyone is
Just stay out of gaming.
so
Just sell it to
stupid.
someone else.
He's
Sell
I
it to
think
Blizzard. They need something.
it's just this thing where you've got like, I was actually discussing this with one of our listeners, Snorgle, is like this idea that I think once you're a billionaire, the people that are next to billionaires, the people that are billionaire adjacent, have worked their entire
Billionaire
lives,
adjacent.
their whole careers, to be billionaire adjacent. That's what they want. Zuckerberg's Sheryl Sandberg, like everyone that's working in his orbit, everyone on the board are people that have worked there and sacrificed all sorts of things to be there. To
Just
work at
little
Facebook.
leeches.
They are not going to compromise the ass that they have fixated their leech mouths to speak up or say something right. No, they're just going to tell the ass they're sucking on how great it tastes constantly. So at a certain point, doesn't that just like warp your entire view of like reality? Like it bends the fucking will of reality to fit your worldview, because there is not anyone within like 6 connections that would tell you anything honest.
So he just thinks everything that comes out of his mouth is gold.
And everything he's doing is right. And he doesn't do things wrong, and that like people will be appeased by this. People will not understand that saying you don't need a Facebook login when you're actually using a Meta login is different. It's Zuckerberg, come on the podcast, dude. We'll give it to you straight. I will have you on every fucking week.
I'm actually grateful these like evil billionaires are so stupid, because if they were actually had some brains, I'm like,
We'd be in trouble.
man, we'd be in really big trouble.
Just, you're free to slither down my hallway. I'll clean up the slime trail behind you.
Make you the 4th bit.
We'll make you the 4th bit, Mark. You just let me know when you want to.
We'll call our podcast Meta.
We'll fucking change the name. I just think you should have someone speaking to you real.
We'll bring in heat lamps and barbecue sauce.
Lamps.
Keep them comfy.
We'll get you a heat rock, Mark.
But even if he a heat rock,
You can sit on a heat rock.
we'll just make this like a giant terrarium for him to sit in.
We will record in a giant human-sized terrarium for you, Mark. Like a video game boss in between phase 2 and 3, Bobby Kotick has feigned signs of weakness by lowering his salary.
So give it to me. What did he lower it down to? I haven't read this one.
Dude, nothing. This is great. This is so funny. I'm like, so Kotick said he is asking the board to approve a pay cut to the lowest amount of California law will allow for people earning a salary, which apparently is $62,500, which is down from his current salary of $875,000, which is, I guess, pretty standard for a CEO.
I guess I never thought about this. Does like minimum wage in the US apply to a salary?
Apparently in California,
I never.
I guess.
62,000.
That's nice. Wish I'd been making that. That's a nice salary.
It's much more than 15 an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. So that doesn't really matter, because most of Kotick's compensation comes from bonuses and stock, which he is also asking the board to forego until, quote, we have achieved the transformational gender-related goals and other commitments described above. So he's never going to take another paycheck ever, because there is no fucking way.
He doesn't need to take another paycheck ever. He can basically play God at this point.
Yeah.
And pretend to be the greatest person ever, because they've already made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Trent, you say that like it's so easy for billionaires to do that. They can all do that at any moment, and none of them,
I
literally
know.
none of them ever fucking
But why
do.
do it if you're not going to get paid for it,
I know,
right?
right? So yeah, I don't know, but it's also kind of interesting because Kotick has basically drawn a line in the sand here and said, when the board, which everyone knows, it's a publicly traded company, when the board decides, or when I decide to start taking that paycheck to take my stock options, that is when everything is solved. The quote, gender-related goals and other commitments to the transformational gender-related goals and other commitments described above, which are addressing all the things that Activision is being sued for currently. He is saying when those are solved, I will take my first paycheck. So the reverse is true. When I take my first paycheck, everything's Gucci gang. Let me just tell you, like Trent said, how I don't think it's going to happen to this particular dragon who has been hoarding so much gold. He made $30 million in 2019 and $155 million in cash and stock in 2020. Guys, when you go 5x from 30 million in 2 years
middle of a pandemic,
in the middle of a pandemic, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to take a break. You're not taking a break out of the goodness of your heart.
good for you for taking a
You're
break.
taking a break
You
because
should have just done
probably
what
have
Steve S did and just keep your mouth
like
shut.
gold poisoning in your blood. Can you get that when you like rub on too much money?
You can. I know about this actually.
Well, that's what Kotick has. He's taking a year away from his gold hoard. He's going to go vacation somewhere. I don't
Taking
know.
his gold offshore for a little while.
Yeah, so we don't because he wouldn't want any of us poors touching his gold or the government or anything. So yeah, he's gonna go bury it in the sand. This is so gnarly. Vicarious Visions is going to drop its name and fully merge with Blizzard as the Activision Borg claims yet another victim. Trent, it's been bad.
They made Diablo 2 anyway. So like Resurrected, sorry. They made the Diablo 2 remake anyway, so like they might as well just call themselves Blizzard, I guess.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, they were, to be fair, they were acquired by Activision in 2005 as a wholly owned subsidiary of Activision, and so this is all kind of new. They recently announced in January of this year that they were going to move them under Blizzard, and Vicarious Visions would be part of Blizzard, and they're like, oh, that's kind of cool, like that kind of fits our thing. And then they just announced, like, no, actually you're a Blizzard support studio. The thing is no, they haven't been Vicarious Visions since 2005 because 2 years after they were acquired, Activision closed their main studio in California. So it's just like they went straight for the heart so that they could just keep the body parts, which they did. But I mean, this is a studio that did a lot of stuff that you guys are familiar with.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
They did a ton of ports.
Jedi Knight 2, Jedi
Yeah.
Outcast.
I've done Power Rangers games, Spider-Man games, Crash Bandicoot games, SpongeBob, Frogger, Jet Set Radio, X-Men. They did a bunch of games for movies. If you ever played a game like Disney's Brother Bear, stuff like that. Spy Muppets, License to Croak. I mean, these guys have made a ton of pumped out games in the early 2000s, which is probably why Activision grabbed them, snatched them up, started putting them on games like Guitar Hero and Skylanders. And that's basically all they've been doing until now, when they put them on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which was the first time they were allowed to spread their wings, was essentially
great.
on a remake of a game and of that they had worked on, and then they're just being put out to pasture, and I just don't get it. But this probably does service the $155 million that Kotick made last year by eliminating waste, because all of those were salaries, people's lives that they use
I hate
to
America.
pay their fucking mortgage and stuff. So
Just keep going.
Kudos.
Kudos is our positivity segment
We
for
should start
obvious
calling the
reasons.
news anti-kudos and then move on to kudos.
We needed kudos here. We used to do kudos before anything. That was like the first part of the podcast.
But we need like a reviver.
Yeah, because then it felt like at the start of a roller coaster where you go up, 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 up.
I need a bite
up,
of this
up,
white
and then
chocolate
it goes-
Snickers to get my
Nice. Get your tooth
Mood
back
back.
up.
I
Okay.
actually requested kudos. Do you remember that?
You were the one that requested it. Why?
I was like, you guys need the positivity.
Oh my goodness!
segment.
Can I give kudos too?
Trent is giving live kudos to this candy
I'm
bar.
gonna give a
He's
live
actively-
kudos to
It
white
looks
chocolate
good.
Snickers.
White
Have you
chocolate
tried it?
Snickers? No.
That's
Dude.
delicious. That is better than a regular Snickers, for sure.
but
I
but
just
if you
love white
don't
chocolate.
like white chocolate, are you
No,
gonna
no,
be
it's
into
not.
No, Trent may be right.
Because I'm anti-white chocolate.
Then you probably wouldn't like it. But
No.
if you like white
Count
chocolate.
that as chocolate.
That's really good.
That is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry to everyone that
kudos,
has to
Snickers.
listen to us eat a Snickers.
It was necessary after that
But-
last news segment.
Oh man, white chocolate Snickers. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so real kudos though. Jenna and I went.
Don't dismiss my kudos as not real kudos. That was real kudos. It was live dose.
I'm
Go
sorry.
for it.
I'm sorry. Planned kudos, not
I'm gonna
impromptu.
mute my mic while I eat my Snickers, and you guys can just talk about your kudos.
Dune. You guys, Jenna and I went and saw Dune in IMAX because we were told that was the only way to see it.
Really felt those thumps.
Oh my God, do you feel the noise in your skull? And I mean, so I was a fan of the book. I actually read the book a couple years ago on a lark. And then after I finished it, learned that they were making this movie and was like, yeah! And so I've been hyped on this movie ever since they announced it.
I'm pretty sure the cover of the book you read said it was coming out a movie.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Rude. Anyway, so actually it may have.
I mean, it probably does.
It may have.
for
That
sure.
may, you know what, Jenna, that may have been it, but I didn't when I bought it because I bought it online and then it showed up and I was like, what? It's a movie? But I don't know. I'll look at it. Anyway, I loved the book. I thought it was so awesome. And what was stunning to me about this film is, and I'm generally kind of picky about this shit, but the film was really true to life to the book. Like they did a really good adaptation of the things the way that I imagined them.
And is
to
the
be.
book a series or is it just a book?
It is a long series. It's like 6 books that Frank Herbert wrote.
I know nothing about Dune.
What's really cool about Dune is all about massiveness.
Right.
Huge time scales. Like the series is 8,000 years, for
And
example.
this is part 1, the movie.
Right, because
Yeah.
they just announced part 2.
Yeah, so
Or that
this
they
is
just
about
gonna
the first
come.
book,
Okay.
and there's 6 books, and I mean it's all about huge spaceships and huge timelines and huge empires and X, Y, or Z, these massive things. And they did such a good job of showing the scale in the film. And with an IMAX screen, like it's on HBO right now, you can just watch
But
it.
I shouldn't.
But no. And my sister texted me, "Can I watch this while I'm like doing laundry?" I was like,
While you're doing laundry.
I was like, yeah, you'll see some of the scenes and be like, that's cool. You will not. It's 2.5 hours long, and they use every minute of that. Like they stretch.
Well, it's sci-fi. You've got so many foreign things going on. You need to be paying attention.
Yeah.
And if you guys watch this is the precursor to all of the late 20th century sci-fi that you've ever seen. It is what Star Wars like wholesale ripped off Dune. And you will see that in this film. You see it in the book. I read the book and I was like, oh my God, George Lucas wasn't even like coy about this shit. He just stole it wholesale, just ripped, just copy and paste. And that's really kind of cool to start seeing all of these different things in sci-fi that were influenced by Dune, especially when you realize it was written in the 60s and you're like, oh, all this stuff that came out after was heavily influenced by Dune and like the just kind of the motifs that he paints in this. And so you got to go see this. Oh, you got to go see it.
I'm so excited. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
It's so
and did you
good.
see the old one?
I did.
Yeah, we like the old one with Sting. It was sick.
Yeah.
I liked the old one too. For what it was. This was cool. One of the things that I was talking to Peterson about this, and he was worried that it was going to be distracting because there's lots of big name actors in it.
It's like
you've
all
got
the next gen
Aquaman,
actors.
you've got Zendaya, you've got
what is that guy's name? That's in
the wrestler guy.
Oh yeah,
who
from
plays
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So you got him too. And you know what? It wasn't. It really wasn't distracting because if I'm being honest,
I was talking about Timothy Chalamet.
who that?
He's this dude. He's like along with Zendaya. He's
the
like,
main character.
Yeah.
I didn't know. What was he in before this?
He is in Wonka. Or no, he's gonna be in Wonka. He's the new Wonka.
Oh,
In the new Willy Wonka movie. But
well,
he's
fun
been,
fact
he's
about
in
this
like,
guy that I saw. Fun, dumb little thing.
I think they did a beautiful job portraying the
Little Women.
world,
That's
getting you
what it is.
immersed into the world as much
Mhm.
as you could. And the main actors are not super well known. And I felt like his mom just like stole the show personally from me.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know who played his mom in
And
this
she
movie,
did,
and
like,
she was the best actress.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was absolutely
Because
stunning
I remember, because
performance.
I didn't read the book, and I
Mhm.
remember Jonathan sharing bits of the book with me, but I don't remember hearing much about her at all.
Mhm.
And I described her to you, and you were like, "Yeah, that's how she was portrayed in the book." And I'm
Yep.
like, "That's super cool that she was able to capture that because it was so many complex emotions going on for her character." So I don't know. I just thought it was
the
beautiful.
actor basically, or the character, and this is all revealed in the story. This isn't really a spoiler, but she's basically given birth to the Messiah intentionally, and she's dealing with all of that and the stuff that comes with that, and responsibility, concerns, worries, fears. And like Jenna said, you see it throughout the whole film, and it's really phenomenal. So anyway, we can rant about Dune forever, but we won't. Dune is amazing. Go see Dune. Jenna, you have another kudos that
I
you
do.
were so excited for.
And you don't have to go to IMAX for it.
No, you can just see
stay
this.
right at home, put on Hulu, and watch Reservation Dogs because it is excellent. It's
I read
a
this and thought you
comedy.
were going to give kudos to Reservoir Dogs.
Mhm.
Keep going.
Yeah,
It's a very different show.
very different.
This is Res Dogs. It's about 4 indigenous teenagers in Oklahoma. I watched
On a reservation.
on a reservation. I remember watching this by myself, so I wanted to check it out, and I was just busting up laughing by myself in the room, and I just hear these footsteps come down the hallway, and Jonathan comes marching in, his hands on his hips. He's like, "What do you get to laugh about?
What
That
do
I
you
don't get to laugh about."
I want to laugh.
I want to laugh. I was like, okay, you gotta watch this scene. So I like rewound it, and like we were both dying, like
So
watching
fucking
it
funny.
again. And I was like, okay, we've got to watch this show. And I know when we found a good show because Jonathan's like, okay, we gotta preserve like the last 2 episodes for at least like 2 more months.
We
and
never
then
finished the
we will
Nevers.
finish the show. Because it's so good and I don't want it to end. So if you need a laugh, go check it out.
Jenna must be such a bitch to live with me, because I'll be like, we'll be watching TV, a show that we watched together. Yeah, Trent's lived with me. And I'll be like, all right, babe, this is how I talk. All right, babe. I tousle her hair a little bit. Give her
No, usually he's actually like, actually,
actually,
I have
babe,
something I need to tell you.
I'm gonna go play video games. And so we have to turn off what we're watching, which is something we watch together, and I go play video games, and then I'm sitting there playing video games by myself. And if Jenna is enjoying her show that she's now watching by herself at all, I come in and tell her, no, we watched that together. Turn that off.
Like, I
You
can't have
better
anything
luck-
by
yeah,
myself.
Better luck on the next show, because if she turns off Res Dogs, I go back to playing games and she turns on something else funny. I'm gonna come tell her stop. I want to watch this too.
Don't enjoy stuff by yourself.
Only me enjoy stuff. Res Dogs is amazing though. It is super funny. I just loved it. It's like a slice of life kind of comedy thing.
Yep.
Wait, remind me. Sorry, what's it on again?
It's on Hulu. It's like a
Okay.
Hulu series, I believe, right?
I don't
Or is
know.
it on FX? It's FX. So if you guys have cable, I think it's on FX too. But the acting is phenomenal.
So good.
The storylines are super funny, and it's just like, it's just slice of life stuff in like kind of a rundown reservation town where all the kids want to get out.
Yeah.
I'm in. I need a new show
Yeah, it's good. Check that out. Reservation Dogs on Hulu.
on FX,
On FX.
but it's on Hulu.
Thanks, Trent.
I got it. I just got to make sure everyone's
Yeah, I got
their bases
98%
covered.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, it's like it's that level
Like
of
very
good.
well received by everybody.
It's
Okay.
not like it's like a good for a laugh. It's like a good, we're like, oh shit, why isn't this bigger kind of a show? Yeah. it's-
Hidden Gem. Check it out.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Ooh, all right. The good, the bad, and the ugly is our segment where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly elements of a specific aspect of gaming. Oof, I got it all out. So this week I wanted to talk about, I thought this one was really good, because this is a lot of what Jenna's gaming experience looks like. And it's been mine a lot lately too.
Yeah,
But
mine too.
playing games way after they come out. So these are games that were released, whether they came out in the early 2000s or the 2010s. But going back and playing these really old, not really old, but these really like well-received games that you just missed out on, and you knew that they were a cool game. You wanted to come back and play them later. You just didn't get a chance for whatever reason. You find them on a Steam sale. You get them on Epic for free. Whatever reason leads you. They're on Game Pass or EA Play or some shit. And you're like, fuck, I haven't played that game. Came out 5 years ago. Let's play that shit. But definitely this isn't all. There's definitely some good, bad, and the ugly of that. So we'll just go grab back style. Trent.
I got a good.
Good.
Complete editions. Yeah.
No DLC.
No DLC. Everything is out. You get the full game as it was intended to be played without all the developers trying to snake extra money from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which is
binge gaming.
Binge gaming.
Oh yeah, you can actually get through it all.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice. Yeah, that's a good point, Jenna. Binge gaming, because you remember the DLCs that used to come out like for Bethesda games, so Fallout 3 and Skyrim and Fallout New Vegas, where they'd release 4 expansion packs for each game. And Fallout 4 too had this as well. But they came out in an interval that like you could beat them in a couple days, and then you're like, what do I wait a month and then play Fallout 4 again? Then I wait another month and I play Fallout 4 again? No. I get it all at once and I just play Fallout 4 all the way through.
Yep.
Jenna, what about you?
Bad. I feel like some games don't age well.
Yes.
And I heard a lot of hype about Witcher 3.
Mhm.
And I remember just like the weird bugs and the difficulty loading the game and
Oh, so long on the Switch, right?
so
The
long.
load times.
And you know, I gotta give video games credit. I feel like they've made a lot of improvements in UX and making sure that people can like learn the games well and also utilize menus and that was all super confusing to me on Witcher.
Yeah.
And I just didn't even fuss with the card game because I was like, everything else is really
Gwent.
challenging
Yes.
right now for me. And help me pronounce this one right, but Okami,
Uh-huh.
that was another one that I ran into a lot of bugs.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
Okami was way
That's
old.
the wolf one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you played that, and that's like a 2010 or some shit.
2012, I think. might
Oh,
have
that
been.
game was ancient when
Super
you played
old,
it. And
but it
was
looked so
very
pretty,
aged.
and I liked kind of like the story and the gist of it, but it was not fun for me, and it was difficult to like do the paintbrush strokes, and it was like every time, and I was like, I'm over this.
I get that, especially when it's a game that's been super hyped up.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
when it's like a cult classic or something, and everyone tells you need to play it, and then you go back and play it, like
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. Before the remake, is if you go back and try to play the original one, it is, for me, painful because you have these characters where their arms are literal cubes. Like
yes.
yeah. I'm like,
oh
I
my God. And you're
can't,
trying
I
to get
can't get immersed in this. This
Nope.
is just too bad.
So
Nothing
yeah,
from the original PlayStation.
I think just it's bad when games can't age, and even though they have this cult following.
I think one thing you brought up that was important is the value of like a clean and good UI, a thoughtful UI, because I think any games that did get a good UI before 2010 did it on accident. They got lucky.
Yep.
I think now it's a whole discipline in video game development is the user interface and making something that's intuitive and thoughtful. I think menus are huge. Menus are way better. I think that was one thing that jumped out when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out is the menus are the same menu style they had in like the older games. And you're like, oh, fuck, this is what menus used to be like. I hated this. And they was just like, oh, you just put stuff. The developer just put stuff in a list on a page and that's the menu. And that has changed now, but you go back and play an old game, even if the graphics hold up, the gameplay holds up, everything holds up, you hit start and you're like, oh fuck, what am I doing?
I don't want this anymore.
I hate this.
It's a good one.
Here's one. So we'll just keep going. I'll do ugly. One of the ugly things is that the community is super small and insular by the time you find it. So these older games, it is kind of cool. So that's ugly because it's cool if they still have a community and you can go on the subreddit or find a forum where you can hang out and talk to the people that are still playing the game. That's awesome. That's a good. But man, those communities can become very insular. They have very agreed upon opinions that have been filtered down into like what is essentially fact that's held among the community. And you come in and it's set. Everything is set. The meta is set for the game, and the opinions about the best way to play the game is set. Everything's been explored. Everyone's made up their mind on certain things, and so that's cool, but it can be kind of a bummer. I remember when Jenna played The Witcher 3 and she tried to date 2 of the character options to date at the same time, and when she told someone that at work who had played this game previously that she'd done this, he was like, oh no, you can.
I had not done that.
You didn't do it.
He
tried. That's what it was.
He was romancing all the ladies. He's
And
like, don't do it, Jenna.
I
It's a
tried.
bad idea. They don't like it. I'm like, okay,
see,
like
and that's fun and that's awesome. But the reason I put it as ugly is because you didn't get to discover that on your own, and it could be kind of fun to be like, I tried to date everyone in The Witcher and I got stabbed.
well, she still got mad at me even though I was trying not to kiss Trish. I still ended up kissing her anyway. So
I mean, have you
I'm
seen
like,
Trish?
Yeah, especially in the
Yeah.
Netflix. My issue with that though is the same thing. Like, I don't want to be told how to play a game. Period.
Yes.
Like,
yes, that's why I said it's
I
ugly.
want to learn it myself. Okay, I've got another bad then that kind of is the opposite of that. Missing the hype train.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to experience a game at the same time as like the crowd, right? So like you get to see all the memes pop up in real time as people start to discover bugs and everything,
Yes.
or like Reddit posts just exploding about someone finding something new,
or like a new update.
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
going to a convention and there's a bunch of you dressed up as the
Yeah.
same, and you have like a bunch of friends.
Mhm.
yeah, and you're all
instantly.
excited about the same new thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's a bad for me for sure.
Did you get that with Hollow Knight? You were like playing that when it came out, right? And everyone was into it, or were you a little late?
I feel like Hollow Knight, everyone else was a little late to Hollow Knight, to be
Oh,
honest.
that's because I remember you were like posting on the subreddit and you were all involved.
Because I
in
remember, yeah, like coworkers being like, "Oh, you play Hollow Knight?" Like, yeah,
it. Yeah, because you had one of the top posts, like the top 10 posts on that sub for
I
a
don't
minute.
know. I don't pay attention.
No,
I don't pay attention.
listen to this. Listen to
I don't
this.
care how popular I am.
I'm just so popular I didn't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's I have a bad. Is that bug you just ran into? It's never gonna get fixed.
Oh yeah.
That bug is part of the game now. And you might find a forum post about it telling you how to get around it, but sometimes those bugs are game stoppers. Sometimes they break your game.
No one ever finished the game.
I have a
Bug was so
good.
bad.
Yeah.
I think Journey lived up or has stood the test of time because of its simplicity
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah.
just like I think like the title says, it's a journey in itself, and so it's really about the experience of the game. And even though I think it would have been cool to experience other players out in the world and see people,
Yeah.
because I did miss that.
I think you might still get lucky sometimes.
It wasn't super common though. Like,
But
you go
even
a full
then
playthrough and
yeah.
maybe see one person.
Yeah, I didn't deter from the experience that I had from the game, and I thought it was really beautiful. And I think those kind of games are like precious little gems in our little history of gaming
Yeah,
that we should
sure.
appreciate. Because I think that's the good thing about revisiting is like this is held up.
Oh, it was as good as I thought
When
it
they
was.
hold up.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
for
when they
sure
hold up
good.
and then they hold up really good. And you're like, people still playing Mario.
Oh,
Yeah, because
like
I'm pretty
anything
sure I
from Super
cried at the
Nintendo.
end of the game. It was like
You don't cry at the end of Journey. You were not paying
You didn't
attention
play
to
Journey.
Journey. Yeah, you were not playing it right.
You need to try again.
I have one last one. Trent, do you have any?
I have one last good.
Okay, do it. That'll be perfect.
Cheaper price.
Duh.
Same one?
No,
No,
I just
but yeah.
that's just easy.
Yeah, like
They're
you
so cheap.
you get to try
sometimes.
stuff for like a fifth of the price, and it's just that's like how that's how I experienced most of the PlayStation 3, I think.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start playing it till way late, so I got all my games for like $10. And then if I didn't like it, it didn't matter.
Dude, you just made me realize that I have been doing this since 2001 because when the Dreamcast were like, we're done with it, all the prices of those games just plummeted.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is heaven for me. And that's when I got 90% of my Dreamcast library was when it was like super duper cheap because I could get 5 games for the price of what one
great.
game was a month ago. So and then being able to put them on a Steam sale.
Yeah.
And just chill. Like I bought a game on a Steam sale that I've had on today that I had on my list for like a year or two, and just being able to now it's the right price.
Yeah.
It's Bee Simulator.
Guilt-free gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Free gaming.
Yeah. Okay, so my last one is a bad, and this is the worst. Is that there are no updates or additional content, and you know it for sure when this happens. So, for example, for me, FTL, Faster Than Light.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna's shaking her head. I've been talking about this
They
game
just done?
nonstop. Yeah, it's 2012, right? And
Okay.
then they released like an expansion pack, like I think a year later. And then they made another game, and they've been very clear they're not going back to the well on this. They're not going back to FTL or making FTL 2. Because what would you do, really? They have there's a big modder community, and they've made like a big additional game that expands on it like hugely, which I probably explored later. But there's something about knowing definitively it's done. Like,
Yeah.
this is it. Like you said, it's cool to know, like, it's all done. It's wrapped up. Here's all the expansion packs. But then sometimes, like, you play that game, you're like, oh, it's done? That's it?
Aw.
That's all I'm gonna get? Like,
Yeah, I
for
don't
like
like
The
that.
Witcher 3, like, all the expansions are out. Everything's it. And, like, you want more Witcher right now? You're out of luck. You gotta wait. And that's kind of the bummer, is like when you're like, it's great that it's out, but it's been so far. Like, the FTL was 10 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
Come on, you're
it's
still playing FTL though for as long as you
Yeah,
have.
but that
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
change.
endless life. Yeah, but Jenna, what about when I'm 40 and I've beaten everything? Then where's FTL 2? Huh? Huh?
Then you'll be playing Fallout 3 again.
I guess they wouldn't call it. Oh yeah, they'll be back to Fallout 3. What if they called the sequel Fastest Than Light?
Fastester than light.
Fastester Than Light. That's going to be our sci-fi series.
Fastester.
Fastester Than Light. It's a racing show. Jenna, you don't get it. JD asks.
JD asks.
JD asks.
JD ass?
JD's ass. I don't know, guys. We're going with JD ass. JD's ass. JD's ask is this segment where I ask something. This week I'm asking y'all, what's a game that you've beaten in 1 or 2 sittings? Also flexible. You know, if it's like 3 or 4 sittings and it normally takes you 20. Yeah, what's a game that you just are like, I gotta beat this. I gotta sit down and beat it. Why was it so awesome? Why did you like it so much?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got some, right?
I have one. The last
Yeah.
one that I remember doing this with.
Okay.
Because long gaming sessions aren't like a thing lately.
Yes.
Link Between Worlds. It was the
Oh, yeah.
last Zelda game that came out on the 3DS.
Yeah.
And it was like I don't know if you'd call it a spiritual successor or like an actual direct sequel, but it takes place in the same world
Zelda
as
2?
as the Super Nintendo one, A Link to the Past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so it's got literally the exact same map as that. And I don't know what it was about it. Like, I turned that game off. I got it for Christmas in what year did it come out? Like 2010? Or no, like 2014.
What is this one?
A Link Between Worlds.
A Link Between.
I want to say it was like
Worlds.
2014 or so.
2013.
13, yeah.
Nice.
So I remember I got this for Christmas in 2013, and I turned on my 3DS,
Mhm.
and it did not turn off until I beat it. Like, that night I turned it on and I played it like into the next day. It was probably good like 18, 20 hours straight, where like I would get up to go get food or something, but it had everything you like in a perfect Zelda game. Like, all the puzzles were perfect.
Yeah.
It was a sequel to what's considered like one of the best ones. Like, the argument on Zelda games is usually between Ocarina of Time or
Right.
Link to the Past.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know. And then there were new elements to it that at first I didn't like, but they kind of grew on me, where you could normally in a Zelda game, you're unlocking your new abilities like sequentially, like you're following kind of that order. But this, you could unlock them in any order you want. You could do any dungeon in any order you wanted. You just kind of like Breath of the Wild. Very, very similar thing, but I think this is the first time they did that. And so all of the puzzles were so perfect. The gameplay was perfect. The mechanics that were unique to that game, where you could almost like meld into the wall as a shadow to switch between worlds.
Yeah.
It was just so great. And I haven't experienced that. Like, I love Breath of the Wild, but I haven't experienced that with a Zelda game the same way since then.
I feel like I'm gonna have to dust off my 3DS and play this game. The reception it got, dude, it got so many best game
Dude,
of the
it was
year,
so good.
best design, best level design, best audio. Like, it just swept the awards. Wow, people really liked it.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't expecting to like it. I knew that I liked Link to the Past, and I got it, and I could not put it down.
Something special about playing a handheld game that you're grinding on too, because you're like, that's going to the bathroom,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
going to the
like
bathtub.
Pokemon Red.
Yeah,
It's coming to bed.
That's coming to bed. Yeah, especially it's coming to
I'm
bed.
waking up to it.
Yeah, I'm waking up, rolling
Love
over.
waking up to a good
I
game.
woke up 20 minutes early, so an hour of gaming. Cool. Jenna, did you have any?
This question is funny because I feel like I, just by the kind of gamer I am, cannot like fit the requirements of this question. Because I don't think I have ever completed a game that quickly. I purposely look for good stopping points in games, and that's satisfying for me. And usually, like I'm playing like only for like a half hour at a time or
Mhm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Ooh, that was a good little dose of video games." And I think that's also why I like VR, and I don't mind the shorter.
Jenna is the
Playtime that
gamer
you
that
would
every
have.
parent wishes they'd raised. That
Half hour. I'm
self-regulate.
good.
Oh, cool. Half
Oh,
hour. That's
yeah.
exactly how much I wanted to play. Thanks, Mom. Gonna go play outside
That
with
was
my
so
friends
nice of you to
now.
only let me play for a half hour.
Yeah, you're really
Thank
nice,
you.
Mom.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm
what
that
the fuck?
gamer.
Yeah, that's you.
You're like,
Weird. Like, are you sure you don't want to play more? Like, you know?
no, I'm good.
No, I'm good. That seemed
I'm
like
gonna go get some fresh air.
yeah. I liked video games
Go play on the
for the
playground.
time that I played them, and now I'm done with it.
Like, especially when I solve a puzzle,
playground.
I'm like, "Oh, good job, Jenna." Pat
Maybe
myself on
if
the
it
back.
rains, I'll come inside and play a little bit more.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
Yeah.
But I was actually really satisfying session, Mom. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Jenna is way too responsible.
oh, and no, I
to
don't need
ever
any
do
new
this.
games until I beat this either.
Oh
So,
yeah, no, I'm just working on one game at a time. You know.
Yeah, Jonathan has to be like, you can buy another game. It's okay. It's
the
okay.
responsible game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking chaos gamer over here. I've got like 8 games going on at the same time. I'm playing one on my phone while I've got
Some
one
of them will
playing
never
on
get
my
finished.
computer. I've got 3 going at the same time on my computer. One's running on my PlayStation.
I never know which game I'm going to be hearing about. Either it's like all in rotation, so it might be Valheim,
Yeah.
might be
FTL.
FTL, might be Citizens or
Age of Empires.
Yeah, probably.
Civilization.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the new
You
one.
play that?
No,
No.
but she's thinking about it. Jackson plays a lot of Civ.
Yeah. Justin played a
Um,
lot of Civ.
Civilization. What are we thinking? What do you think?
A Sid Meier game.
Chivalry.
Chivalry.
She's thinking Shiv 2.
Shiv. They're very
There's
good.
so many, you guys.
There's
That's
lots
a
of Civs.
problem.
Oh yeah, Shiv is super
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, this is like our morning ritual. Jenna gets out of bed and she's kind of a zombie, and then I drag her out on a dog walk. And while Jenna wakes up on the dog walk, I just recount like the last 3 hours of my evening the night before where I played video games. And she just kind of walks and listens. Or not, I'm not sure. I just talk at her, so it's not like I'm really paying attention.
Very similar to our morning dog walks.
Just like, here's the games I played last night.
Not
And
really
Jenna's just,
completely
like,
awake,
zoned
but
the
sure.
fuck out. Yeah, she's like,
Annie
sure,
and I
yeah.
need to call each other.
Yeah.
You guys can be on the phone with each other, and Trent and I will get on the
Just keep
phone with
talking.
each other, and we'll talk.
Annie
feel
and
so
I can
bad.
finally have peaceful mornings. We won't talk to each other. We'll just be like, oh no, I'm actually on the
Trent's
phone.
I
gonna
wish
come.
you would shut up.
Trent's gonna come over and just Annie will drop Trent off to walk the dogs in the morning. Have fun, boys.
You can go on a walk with Quinn.
That is awesome. Well, I am much less responsible than Jenna, and I will get kind of sucked into. Although, it like Trent said, it happens less now.
Yeah.
It happened a lot when I was younger, and there was something that was like so indulgently satisfying about it that I really, really, really liked it. So, but the problem is, it's a 2-part thing, and you have to have A, the time to do that, and the time booked out, and B, the desire. Or I'm sorry, not be the desire. You actually have to have the game. So yeah, the desire. You have to actually have a game that causes you to want to do that with it. So for me, it doesn't happen very often. The last couple times it's happened, Obra Dinn, Return of the Obra Dinn, you guys have heard me talk about. This is a murder mystery, kind of a point and click type of adventure game. Not adventure, just a puzzle mystery game. And it was on Switch, so it's
Right.
an easy one, but I could not go to bed without beating it. I just couldn't. I was like, I don't know how long. This was one that, thankfully, it was only 5 hours long. If it had been 15,
You'd be in trouble.
all-nighter, I would have 100% stayed up all night playing it, and it would have been like, this was actually the first game in years that made me feel that way, and I haven't felt that way since, where I was like, no, sleeping is not as important as whatever is happening right fucking
Yeah,
now.
I definitely haven't felt that way for a while.
Long time. So
Yeah.
Obra Dinn was actually the first time in I don't know, 3 years on either side of it that I actually felt that way. Although recently, my Dice of Destiny, a little spoiler, Injustice. That's what
Really?
actually incentivized this whole thing. And I'll talk more about this. But yeah,
That's a
Injustice, I
shocker.
beat in like 2.5 sessions. Stayed up pretty late playing it, and I wasn't gonna go anywhere till I beat it. And there's reasons for that, because it did have a definitive I knew how long it would take me to beat, so that was really cool. But yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, when I was a kid, man, on
Oh, for sure.
360 all the time.
Or like just Game Boy Color all the time.
Ugh, Pokemon.
Every time there was a new Pokemon game, it fit that category pretty well.
Yeah, I remember. Here's a good example of this. Pokemon games, and I think maybe they've only recently changed this, but there was only one save file on these old carts, and so if you had your one Pokemon game and you wanted to restart, you had to either find a friend that would hold on to your Pokemon for you from your old game. You could transfer them over there and then transfer them back, which is kind of a pain. And it didn't really feel right because you're like, well, if I'm starting a game fresh, I want to start with my fresh Pokemon.
Right.
So, I remember one day I was really, and this is in elementary school, and I'd been playing Pokemon forever, that I was like, I'm going to start a new game and just play it as long as I can without hitting save. I got 13 hours into this game. Basically, I can't believe my Game Boy didn't die, but I did change out the batteries before. It's Pokemon Red. I was playing it on the Game Boy Color. And yeah, I think I got into Cerulean City. So I got to the second city in the game. And yeah, I mean, I was grinding. And then eventually, I genuinely think for whatever reason in my brain, I had to go to
I was gonna say 14 hours is like the SS Anne.
Yeah.
Like
No. I wasn't
like...
even there. I think I was like to Misty.
Okay.
Because I was like grinding my Pokemon and taking my time, like playing it like I would normally play. I wasn't like trying to do a speed run or shit. And then yeah, I think I had to go to a football game. And so I was like, well, turned it off. What the?
Didn't save it.
Well, I couldn't. I wasn't that committed. I had been playing the other one for 500 hours. Yeah. It was like Pokemon roguelike. So yeah, I haven't done it in a long time, but I'm always waiting.
I know. One day there'll be another one. And we'll talk about it.
Yay. Okay.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice of Destiny is this awesome little game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 6-sided dice to see who will be responsible for the Dice of Destiny, a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. After that, we roll another 6-sided dice to see how much money we can spend on that game. Then that person picks a game in that genre for that price and reviews it. So, 2 weeks ago, I rolled a fighting game. And I have not played a fighting game in 10 years, maybe more, since college.
Sort of like Smash, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah. No, I had buddies that, you remember Pete? Pete was way into Mortal Kombat. So I used to play Mortal Kombat a lot whenever I'd hang out with Pete. But that was kind of like it. Like Street Fighter and stuff, but
Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis is the greatest game ever.
I disagree. While it is a very good game, I think Donkey Kong for the Super Nintendo is the greatest game ever made. So I was looking, I only could spend $20, and so I went with Injustice. This is a game, Injustice Gods Among Us. It is a fighting game set in the DC universe. It's, as Trent put it so eloquently, it's DC What If. And the what if here is, what if Superman accidentally killed Lois Lane and all of Metropolis? Also, she was pregnant, so he killed the baby. The answer is Superman goes fucking ballistic, goes crazy, and turns into a totalitarian dictator who's determined to make the Earth run exactly how he wants it to run. So you come from Earth Prime and you're playing other superheroes that are beating up the superheroes that are on evil Superman's team, and sometimes you're playing as those superheroes. So it's an opportunity for Batman to beat up Batman, for example, or for Superman to beat up Batman, or vice versa. So all these different crisscrosses they get. That's the story, and it's so good. I don't play fighting games.
So good.
I don't like fighting games. I would never go out of my way to play one. This game
what
is
makes it good? The combat's good. The story's good.
Everything. So the combat is good. I didn't actually, because I have this weird voice. Peterson never plays tutorials in games,
right?
Like ever. And so
Who reads instruction manuals?
Yeah, and I've started to be like peer pressured into thinking that's what cool kids do because Peterson does it. And so I've stopped doing tutorials in games. I think it was because I did a couple tutorials and they were so bad they legitimately like soured me on the game. For a dice game. I tried the tutorial for like Sea of Thieves or something, and it was so awful that I like legit was like, I fucking hate this game. So there is merit to this, and so I skipped the tutorial. Should not have skipped it, but even having skipped the tutorial, I was able, and not playing fighting games for 10 years, I was able to figure out the fighting and excel and succeed in this game at the intermediate, like the medium setting, difficulty setting, all the way till there's 12 chapters. I got to chapter 10 before I was like, okay, I need the
I got to learn
tutorial.
something.
Yeah, so I went back and did the tutorial, and it was awesome because I did learn like 3 or 4 big things about the game because the computer fighters kept doing it to me, and I was like, maybe they can just do that because they're the computer.
And you could do it the
no,
whole
I
time.
can definitely do it. I'm just an idiot. I was like, oh, it's so unfair. Jenna, that was when I was like, I came in, I was like playing the Flash, and Jenna was like, I need a break from the game. Let's go get the hot tub or something. She's like, why did you lose? I was like, yeah, it's total bullshit. It was not bullshit. I just didn't know how to play the game. So even then, I was still having a good time missing half the fucking abilities. I was loving it. Like the different characters, the different fighters have different abilities. If you want to know why, Batman or they're like why I guess Harley Quinn's able to punch Superman in the face. The idea, the hand wave story is they all took these pills that had kryptonite DNA in them and nanotech that basically turned them all into the strength of Superman. So everyone across the board is Superman strong. Which why wouldn't y'all just jump on Superman and beat him to death?
Gotta do it one at a time.
One at a time. 1-on-1 as the comic books demand.
I did think it was cool that you could interact with props in your environment while you fought.
Shit. Yes. So it's like a 2.5D thing. And what Jenna's talking about. So like you are standing by a dumpster, and if you're Superman, you can just reach over and grab that dumpster and throw it on someone. Or if you're Harley Quinn, you can swing it around on its wheels and wing it at someone. And so you have an environmental disaster or environmental like dangers that you can incorporate in your fighting. Lots of cool combos. It does feel, you do feel like you are that character. It doesn't feel like they're just interchangeable fighters with different skins. Like they all have very unique, like Harley Quinn's wicked fast. The Flash is so fucking fast. And Lex Luthor in a big Iron Man suit is slow as shit, and it like feels slow and clunky, but when he hits like a truck. So that's really cool. I love the fighting gameplay. It was obvious because these are the same guys that made Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
So it was obvious they had a pedigree. It wasn't like someone's just
super violent.
No,
it's a fighting game.
2v14, TV14 or
teen?
whatever teen. Yeah. It was, and it felt the most violent part. It was kind of an off-screen death. Well, you see it from behind, but Superman lasers Shazam to death in the eyes, just in the face. Yeah, like Homelander and The Boys.
Wow.
But you only see it from behind. Yeah, first he blows his frost breath and fills up his mouth with like ice. And then while he's like sitting there, like I assume suffocating to death, he burns out his eyes with his laser breath. And
I got a description of this scene probably for about 5 minutes.
It's
total.
really gnarly.
So it's like a fatality, though.
No, this was just during a cutscene.
Oh, wow.
There's no fatalities necessarily, and that I was able to find. Maybe there are. No, there wasn't. I thought there was like hyper violence in it. But I think that's only in DC versus Mortal Kombat. I think that's where.
I didn't even know that was a game.
Yeah, that was the first one, and then they're like, we'll do a DC only one. So the other thing that I really appreciated was the cutscenes, the story, the voice acting were all A+, and that is why I played this game in 2 playthroughs all the way through about I think 7 or 8 hours. It is a fighting game. You know why though, dude? It's like this is a PS3 360 era game, and I'm playing it on my computer 10 years after the fact. It looks fine. It really does. And it was funny because I looked at the reviews for this game when it came out and people were bitching about the graphics. I was like, fuck early 2010.
God, dude.
That was like all they cared about was graphics. And I was like, the graphics are solid. Games coming out today look like this. It's fine. And it upscales really good. But yeah, the idea is that it felt to me like I was watching an episode of Batman and Superman
Well,
Adventures.
It sounds like it would be a dope episode of
and
Batman
it would
and
be
Superman.
a good episode of like Justice League Unlimited or some shit. So it felt like the voice acting was quality enough. And then instead of Trent, what I was telling Jenna was so cool is like when you're watching Justice League, when you're watching superhero animated TV shows, and you're a kid and like Superman's getting his ass kicked, you're sitting there clenching your fists on the couch and you're like, oh, just get him, just like hit him once, or like Superman does a big above the hand like smash on someone's body and you're like, fuck yeah, Superman. Well, that's what's so cool about this game is you watch all these cutscenes, which are some are pretty long, like 5 minutes. You watch the cutscene and then you get to do the fight. You get to be in the fight, and they feel good. It's like it's just really cool to be. It was like an interactive story. The fighting I had, like I said, I had it at medium, so the difficulty wasn't too bad. The difficulty actually felt super right.
Yeah.
Because I died a couple times, but not enough times that I was frustrated. There are 12 chapters, 12 different characters, and each person has 3 fights. So I knew I was like 36 fights, easy. And that's so
I know where the ending is from.
That's why I was able to grind this. And I think more games I would be inclined to grind through this way if they had such a clear ending like that.
Well, that's probably why Pokemon's so good like that.
8 gyms, 8 badges,
so 8 gyms.
And I'm good.
Except for
and then I'm in endgame. So yeah, it was just so good. And even things like minor quality of life things, like, right, so you go into the cutscene, you watch the cutscene, you die, and then you start over. Well, it doesn't show the whole cutscene. It shows the last line the person you're fighting, because they all have, like, you have a line after you punch them. You're like, should have stayed down or something like that. And they have a line before you start the fight. And so they just say their line, you start the fight. So it's not even annoying to restart. There are some fights that have a quick time event at the beginning, which are just like a fun little thing that allow you to get like a little advantage in the fight. Those don't even replay. If you lose, you don't even have to do the quick time event again.
Wow.
Which, I mean, some people might want to, but my thought was like, damn, thank you. Those are fucking annoying. I don't have to. And I bought a fighting game, not a quick time event game.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, I just thought, oh, it was so cool. It was a thoughtful game. Like I said, it was clear that this wasn't their first foray into fighting games. I have one nit. The one nit of this game was the graphics. For one thing, what the fuck? They made the chestiest Wonder Woman. It is.
Oh yeah, there's what you said it was 2010 though, right?
Absurd. Yeah. It is. Like, did you see her, Jenna?
Oh yeah, like most of the characters had unrealistic asses and boobs.
Yeah, the proportions are really off. For some reason, they're like,
Wonder Woman.
How do we make Wonder Woman stand out even among the other hot babes in the game? We'll just make her so chesty that it's like hard to look at.
It's got Wonder Bread in there.
Yeah, it's kind of like that guy.
Extra wonderness.
Yeah,
extra wonderness.
You're like, no wonder she's wearing that metallic like corset thing, because no fabric is going to support those things.
You know that game designers are not being realistic about.
Let's see.
Clothes though.
Gods Among Us. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, she was never really great. Trent, here's a good screenshot. Do you see that? It's because they give her like these massive pecs. Oh, here's a good one. Look at that one. So they give her like really big pecs to represent that she's like really strong. But then they put giant boobs on top of them, and it looks weird. I mean, if you look at bodybuilders, female bodybuilders,
like that. Most female bodybuilders have to get
implants
to
because
actually have boobs.
Exactly. So they ran into like a physical impossibility here.
Whatever the backstory is, she got plastic surgery, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman really cares as an Amazonian what people think about her big boobs. So that was my only nit. Was like it was like, oh, Wonder Woman. I didn't even want to play as Wonder Woman. It was so distracting every time she was in a cutscene. I couldn't look. I was like, what is going on there? You should go see a doctor. Other than that, though, amazing. I think if this game, and I'm just realizing I didn't think of this before, but this game is a food. This game is a food. It's something that I was like, damn, I should have tried. You know what this game is? This is a Euro. I had my first Greek Euro sandwich when I was 16 years old. The first thought I had was too fucking late. I should have had this 5 years ago. Even me with my most white boy, white bread palate at 16 years old in Utah, I would have appreciated this. I was like, dang, I would have liked this as a kid. I would have liked this as a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. So this is...
I got to check it out.
Injustice is a Euro. If you haven't had a Euro, if you haven't played Injustice, even if you don't like Greek food,
playing Injustice.
If you don't like fighting games, it doesn't matter. This is like universally delicious. This game is sick. It is a $20 game. However, it's at $20 for a 7-hour game. I'm not sure it's worth it. However, this does go on sale all the fucking time.
It's $2.50 an hour.
Yeah, Trent's got a good point. So yeah, if you wanted. I would personally say wait for sale, because I'm used to spending way little on games because I usually am waiting for sale. But $20 is absolutely, I'd say, probably worth it for what you get out of it, the quality. And if you like fighting games, 100% this is worth it, because I just played the campaign. There's multiplayer, there's single player. You could play all these, you could try to unlock a bunch of characters.
And if you like it enough, there's a sequel.
And there's a sequel, which is equally well received and has all sorts of other things. And if you're really into the world, they made a movie that's on HBO now, an animated movie that just came out in 2020.
Oh, wow.
In the Injustice universe. So yeah, it's a whole big thing. It's really cool. Definitely check out Injustice Gods Among Us or Injustice 2. I'm sure they're about the same thing. Really good. And I really appreciate what you brought up, is that I don't play Mortal Kombat because the gore and is just too much for me. It just turns my fucking stomach. But this is like, clearly they're making good fighting games, and I get to enjoy the Mortal Kombat mechanics without pulling anyone's spine out of their mouth. So that means Jenna loves hearing me say things all the time. Okay, that means we've got to re-roll. So I'm going to roll a 6-sided dice to see who will be rolling. So we'll go Jenna. No, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Trent 3, 4. Jenna 5, 6. Trent 3.
Where do you see a 3? Oh, I was looking at the other one. 3. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I used the biggest one. Oh no, we should use we have to use this one for money.
Okay.
I forgot about our Pokemon dice. Okay, Trent, I know you hate rolling dice, but now you have to roll a 20-sided dice. Can you
roll
do
it for me?
No, do it right there in the little. Just don't throw it. You don't have to throw it.
17.
17 is a shooter.
Really?
Yeah, you got the only good thing on the board.
I'll do it.
So
all right.
Trent, okay, now
where's
roll,
my other dice?
Yeah, roll this Pokemon dice to see how much. So roll. Shooter is off, and dating sim is back on the board. I'm
I had that.
Stoked for dating sim.
40.
$40 on a shooter?
Easy.
Okay, so Trent, next week we'll have a $40 shooter game for us, and he will play it the week after and review it for us. Okay. Is that it? Do you have anything else? Oh, all right. Oh, this is nice. Jenna was right. All right, guys. To play us out, we've got the music. We've got some music from Kana, Bridge of Spirits. This is the Befriending Spirits theme. I do feel like I'm out there in a mystical forest, befriending spirits.
I do feel like I really need to play this game still.
You should.
Yeah.
Too bad you downloaded it. See, you let him borrow it. How dare you? Okay. On that note, JD hogging off.
This is Trent. Peacing out.
This is Jenna. See you later.
Thanks for stopping by, Eddie. Anyone else that's hanging out?
Dude, that's the longest one we've done in a while.
Yeah.
No breaks. 142.
Really?
Yeah.